How many of you want to make a difference in the world, to do something for a noble good, a greater good in the world? Hands are going up, and I could say that we're at about 90%. The purpose of my talk today to you is this simple. I am here to help you understand why you have that feeling inside of you and to give you some steps so you can go live it and understand it and have confidence in yourself that you're living your life for a greater good. What I want to talk about today is writing a purpose statement for your life, a reason of existence, a purpose. Businesses do this all the time if they're purpose-minded businesses. Walt and Roy Disney wrote a purpose statement for Disney. Steve Jobs wrote a purpose statement for Apple. Your life, if you can define your reason for existence, will be more profitable, productive, you'll have more peace, and you'll know that you're living your life for a greater good, a reason beyond than just making money. A purpose statement is your first step that helps you answer the calling that you're feeling in your heart that wants to go live your life to a greater good. Once you understand your reason for existence, it'll attract better jobs and better jobs that are in line with their corporate purpose with your personal purpose. My purpose in life is this simple. I'm here to communicate hope, to help people, to make people happy. I do that as a television producer, but I can also do it as a public speaker speaking to you today. My hope in this talk is that you walk away having a better understanding of yourself and your reason of why you're here, because I believe in you. I believe you are here on this planet for a reason to do something good. My purpose is to communicate hope to you, to help you, to make you happier. That's why I'm here. A purpose statement in a personal life as well as in business have three main items. First is core feelings, feelings that you want others to feel. For me, it's happy, joy, help, hope. Those were the things that I labeled when I said communicate hope, help people, make people happy. Those are the core feelings that are inside of me that at a core I'm just wanting to reproduce in others. The second is actions, things that we want to do. We all have natural actions that we enjoy doing, whether it's writing, communicating, talking, actions, things to do. Third element is an audience. Who are you trying to connect with and engage with or inspire or help? If you're going to live a life that serves a greater good, you have to know your audience, your target, who you're trying to connect with. When Walt and Roy Disney in their 20s started Disney, their purpose was to make people happy. Walt liked to create, draw, come up with ideas and create things, theme parks, movies, animation. He wanted people to feel happiness. His audience was people. It was big and bold, and it was going to touch anybody and everybody. Anybody here in this room that has ever been to and felt a Disney experience, whether it's a theme park, a feature film, or a TV show, felt happiness. It's why they exist. When I was in my 30s, I wrote that purpose statement for my life, to communicate hope, to help people, to make people happy. I was working as a television producer and I wasn't very happy. I wasn't working on a lot of big shows. I knew that there was bigger jobs or bigger opportunities that I wanted to do. But it took me to take time to figure out what my reason for existence was, as well as writing and declaring, this is my purpose statement. This is what's inside of me that's trying to get out to everybody else in the world. And once I did, I attracted other like-minded people and other like-minded companies. Shortly after I wrote the purpose statement for my life, I got approached by a very good friend of mine by the name of Robert Deaton. Robert is by far probably the most creative executive producer I know. He's a force. You've seen many, many of his shows. Robert had sold, this is in 2004, had sold his very first television special to CBS. Robert was also a board member of the Country Music Association, the CMA. For years, the CMA had a big television special called the CMA Awards Show on CBS. Robert had the bright idea of taking the CMA's other event, the CMA Music Festival, and turning it into a television show. He sold that idea to CBS, and he quickly brought me along to co-produce it and develop it together. When we were in the development of that show, we knew we needed a purpose for the show, a reason for existence. Why should people care to watch this show after all? And Robert inspired us with the team of us with a story of why the CMA Music Festival began in the first place. And it began originally as a festival called Fanfare. And what happened was the artists all got together 40, 50 years ago now, and they decided, the artists, that they needed to have a festival to give back to the fans of country music, to thank them for being fans. They'd invite them to Nashville, they'd put on concerts for free, they'd have fan club parties, they'd have picnics, they'd play music, they'd take pictures, and they would just have a celebration as a way to say thank you to the fans of country music. That had a reason for existence. The CMA Music Festival's purpose is for the stars to give back to the fans of country music. And that worked great for television. Robert employed me to produce stories with stars at the CMA Music Festival. So my department's purpose was that we would tell stories of our artists giving back to the fans of country music. And we would stage these events like a little moment in time, like a little documentary. And it was really great for the artists, and it was really great for the fans, and it was really great for the television audience. The very first year, we did a story with an artist by the name of Keith Urban. Keith was pretty young in his career, and his manager really wanted Keith to be known as the guitar player of country music. And he's an amazing guitar player. So I wrote a story for Keith that he agreed to let us shoot. And it was basically, we want to tell the story of Keith explaining how he fell in love with the guitar at the age of 12, 13 years old. And we were going to tell that story through the eyes of two country music fans that were also 9, 10 years old, young boys, but amazing guitar players. And the story event was these kids got to come to the CMA Music Festival and shadow Keith for the day. They get to go to sound check, they get to go backstage, see all Keith's guitars and amps, get a backstage tour from Keith, and at the end of the story, they would all get around Keith in his tour bus and they would all play music together, musicians. It was a great little story of an artist, Keith Urban, giving back to fans of country music. CBS aired that show and that story, and it did okay. The ratings weren't spectacular. But over at ABC, there was a woman by the name of Andrea Wong, a brilliant, brilliant television executive. Andrea ran the alternative programming division for ABC. She had a purpose, thesis, lens that they were looking at through all of their programming opportunities of what they were going to make their mark on ABC with. Her thesis, purpose, was good things happen to deserving people. So all the shows she was looking for were story shows where good things were happening to deserving people. That was the moniker, that was the thesis, that was the purpose that gave America and ABC Extreme Makeover Home Edition, The Bachelor, Dancing with the Stars. Good things happen to deserving people. When she saw the stories of artists giving back to fans of country music, she already wanted to be in the country music business. It just seemed to be a natural show for them. So then she bought the show, and we began doing the show, and the show still runs on ABC. So let's look at the alignment. I'm an individual producer where I'm trying to communicate hope, help people, make people happy. The CMA has a purpose of the artists giving back to the fans of country music. ABC has their department purpose of good things happen to deserving people. ABC is owned by their parent company, Disney, where they want to make people happy. That's alignment of purpose. If you can understand your own purpose, your own reason for existence, it helps connect you with purpose-minded companies and purpose-minded opportunities where you can grow and do greater things together. How in the world can we figure out your purpose? Number one, let's deal with the feelings portion, that your core feelings that you are trying to reproduce, whether you know it or not. These feelings come from what I call our greater good moments in your life. And I want you to think about greater good moments in your own life right now. I would define a greater good moment as this, and it might have happened when you were at a high point or at your vulnerable, weakest point. But somewhere between elementary and college, you've probably had an experience in your life where somebody greater than you, a coach, a teacher, a pastor, a God, a parent, an aunt, an uncle, somebody that was over you in a position of authority, did something good for you for nothing expected in return, just for your own self-development. How many of you can think of a moment in time like that in your own life? Great. Now think about this. Not necessarily what the act was, but how that moment made you feel. Did it make you feel loved, joy, peace? And here's the tricky thing about your feelings. Your feelings, we call our spirit and our soul our heart. But unfortunately, we don't feel anything in our heart. It just pumps blood. It's just a muscle. Neuroscientists will tell you your feelings are in the limbic side of your brain. It just releases adrenaline and endorphins to your heart, and your heart beats a little faster. You get a little sweaty under your armpits, or you get a little goose pimple on your bumps on your arms. But make no doubt about it, your spiritual, feeling, soulful side of yourself is in your limbic brain. Your brain, if you could imagine, my fist is my brain. Where my thumb is right now is where your limbic brain is. It controls all of your decision-making components and all your major decisions of your life. It controls all of your feelings and your sense of soul and spirit and your sense of real feelings in yourself. And it has zero language capabilities. That's over here in the outer part of your brain, the neocortex. So what's difficult is getting feelings to words. And that's where most people get trapped. One of the people that I think is brilliant at connecting the limbic feelings with the neocortex is an artist that I got introduced to a little over 10 years ago. I met Taylor Swift when she was 16 years old. I got introduced to her by the CEO of her record label, Scott Borchetta. And my job was to shoot documentary footage of Taylor going to high school at Hendersonville High School in Nashville, Tennessee, hanging out with her friends. And then her after-school job was to go in to write and record her first record in hopes of being a recording artist. So I spent 2 years documenting Taylor's life. And in that period of time, I noticed one thing about her. She is relentless at songwriting. She is always writing a song. If there's downtimes or a moment, she's crafting a song in her head. And she told me one time, she said, Jim, I cannot not feel something and not put it into a lyric of a song. Taylor's genius is that she's created an information superhighway between what she feels and what she can think and put into words, and therefore craft it into a catchy lyric that you all want to sing. And she does it in an autobiographical narrative, but as a listener, it helps you as an individual find and figure out what you're feeling in your own life. That's her opportunity to serve a greater good in the world. She inspires and helps you to figure out your own life and so that you can go and live your own dreams. Actions are very, very important in a purpose statement. Actions are the things that you love to do, let's call it your inner child. Things that you love to do when you were just playing at 5, 6 years old. The third item is an audience. Who is it that you want to inspire? Who do you want to connect with? Could be millennials. Could be grade school kids. It could be people with disabilities. It could be veterans and military people. Who is the audience? You're all reproductive beings. You're dying to reproduce your emotions and feelings to others. That's why when I can ask you how many of you want to make a greater good in your life, 90% of you raise your hands. But I'm going to tell you, you will be able to exploit that and live that so much more clearer and so much more profoundly and so much more productively if you can define it and write it in a simple sentence. You guys are part of a global movement of purpose that is literally taking over the workforce around the world. And here's why. Millennials all want to serve a greater good. It's just part of the backdrop of who you are, and it's how you're wired. And it's all due to how you've been influenced in your life. And it's a good thing. It's a really good thing. But it's changing the way we do business and how we hire people for jobs. By 2020, about the time you guys are graduating, 70% of the workforce will be millennials. In the human resource division of corporate world, they call this now the human economy. Basically what happened, and this is the paradigm shift, is in the industrial age, when we were building this country of ours, we hired hands. We needed hands to go lift and move and build things. In the 60s and 70s, computers became a part of the workforce, and we needed minds, engineers, PhDs, masters of blah, 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 to figure out big engineering questions. Now we have artificial intelligence at our fingertips. We got more knowledge than we can deal with. We need hearts to lead it. If you can figure out your heart now, when you go to get a job, you'll be better positioned for a better opportunity and great opportunities, because employers are looking for hearts that they can lead to help build a corporate purpose. So your value in the global marketplace increases if you know your sense of self, you know who you are as an individual, you know your purpose. Write a purpose statement and you will be able to have unlimited opportunities. Thank you.